All right, we're live now on YouTube, I think. Sorry. I think it was live on Twitter for a minute. I
Well,
didn't hit live on the YouTube.
here's a good thing, Nick. Nick, the good thing is they didn't miss anything. They didn't
All
miss
right,
anything.
do a show.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the wall, Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Line to right field. Genius, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to a career of Jay Bruce.
I don't know. All right, Nick. I got to start the show off by saying it's another losing edition of Chatterbox Reds. I don't know how else to say it. I can't believe it. Not been the best of days for me, but you know what? I'm still alive. I'm just down, man. I don't know really what else to say to the people. What else are we supposed to say to the people? I got a question for you, Nick, genuinely, before we get the show on the road. Do you think this team's just bad?
I don't know. I don't know.
Just tell me no.
I don't think they're bad. I mean, I don't think
All
they're
right.
good. I think they're probably a mediocre team that's playing really bad right now, and everything's not going their way.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't. We obviously can get into it a little bit. We'll do the box score recap quickly, or just some semblance of it. I'm sure that the podcast in the morning will be a little bit better. I do want to get out in front of it and say that I really hosed Nick over today. I thought I was going to be back in time, and then that didn't happen. So my poor man's been probably scrambling the last few innings trying to figure stuff out. But Nick, go ahead and kind of run through, I guess, what is the box score recap.
All right, I'm going to mute you to make this a little cleaner. So remind me if I don't mute you back.
All right.
All right, Reds taking on the Diamondbacks. Top of the first, Jock Peterson hit a solo home run off Hunter Green. That made it 1-0 Diamondbacks. Reds had just one hit going into the 5th inning off future Hall of Famer Slade Ciccone. But with 2 outs, Jamer Candelario hit a home run to left field, tying the game at 1. Reds look like they might be getting a rally going after a Benson double, and Luke Maile hit by a pitch on the wrist. Really ugly looking at the time, but Friedl flew out to end that inning. Hunter Green, he battled through 5 innings, didn't have his best fastball. Velocity was down about 3 miles per hour. Green gave up a single and a walk to the next batter to start the 6th. His day was done. Nick Martinez came in. He gave up a double and a sac fly. Just like that, it was 3-0 Diamondbacks. Green's final line, 5 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 5 walks, 6 strikeouts. Diamondbacks added another run in the top of the 7th, but in the bottom of the 7th, Reds trailing 4-1. TJ Friedl singled with 2 outs. Ellie De La Cruz singled. Ellie stole second base. And then Steer singled home both of those runners to tie the game up at 4. But at the top of the 8th, Reds' lead was short-lived. Diamondbacks got the lead back with 2 outs on an RBI single from Corbin Carroll, and the Reds would fall 5-4. Reds have now lost 8 straight games. Our DSC deep drive of the game, Jamer Candelario homered, number 4 on the season, 100.7 off the bat, 384 feet. Our deep drive of the day, sponsored as always by Deep South Commodities. DSC is a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Thanks as always to our friends at DSC.
Yeah, Nick, I don't know where you want to start. You obviously could talk about Hunter, and listen, I think that ultimately, these guys aren't going to be perfect. That's where I'm at. At some point, someone's got to like go above and beyond. And the pitching staff, and I've continued to say this, I'm just not going to be that hard on them because they've done more than what they've needed to do to have a relatively serviceable stretch of baseball. And this offense can never bail anybody out. Like they just cannot do it. And I will say, give all the credit in the world. That's a big time hit. Kudos to Spencer Steer. They obviously tie the game up, and then a guy that you can rely on 9 times out of 10, Nick. He obviously has a tough little stretch and gives up a run. Fernando Cruz. I don't know, Nick. It just seems like when it's raining, it's pouring. And listen, people are going to crush me, and I think they were upset yesterday because they seemed like I was making excuses, like this was an unlucky loss yesterday. I guess my point is it's like in order to overachieve, Nick, you got to have things go perfectly right where you barely win games. You might have lost if one thing would have happened or this would have happened. In order to significantly underachieve, the same thing has to happen, but just in reverse. And it just seems like that's what's going on. They just can't get over the proverbial hump, and they're right there. But at this point, we're getting to the point where it might be too late. I don't know how you feel about it, but that's kind of that's the nuts and bolts of what's going on right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think it's too late in the season. I mean, 16-21 is not, you haven't buried yourself. It's not 3-17. It's nothing like we've seen in the past. But I mean, every loss certainly makes it a little bit steeper of a hill. I don't think you're like buried though. I know that's a fun topic to talk about this time of the year when everything's going bad, but yeah, I mean, every time you lose, the longer this goes on, the deeper you fall down the hill, and it just becomes steeper and steeper to climb back up. Man, that was some good things today. I mean, Candelario's finally swinging the bat. That's a positive. TJ Friedl, had a big hit. Ellie De La Cruz was great at the plate, great on the base pass, other than what I would probably say was his worst blunder on the base paths. Reds trailing, I think they were down 2 runs at the time. Tried to steal third base with no one out. That one, I mean, I've excused a lot of Ellie's aggressiveness. I think he's the guy that probably deserves the ultimate green light. But at that spot right there, that one was really, really hard to swallow. I'll be honest, I didn't really see Stuart Fairchild's. I was, trying to do a bunch of different things. I don't know how bad of a blunder that was or not.
I mean, it was just aggressive. Listen, it was a simple play. He's stealing second base. Unfortunately, Candelario, I think, he just took a swing. And when you're stealing second base, I think Barry alluded to it. So shout out to Barry Larkin. I don't do that a lot, but shout out to Barry. He alluded to it during the broadcast. And when you steal second base and you hear the ball's put in play, it's probably a good idea to glance over at your third base coach. Fairchild didn't do that. So, yeah, it's a tough stretch right now. I'm trying to get back home, and who knows what's going on. But finish my point really quickly. Stuart Fairchild, people are going to crush him, Nick. I'm not going to say that it was the world's worst mistake. He's trying to steal second base. He lost track of where the ball was. It was a mistake, but again, I don't know. It is what it is. Like I don't know. I will say this: when you're the last guy on the roster or one of the last few guys on the roster, it's not the mistakes that you'd like to be making. Put it that way. I would say that.
Yeah, that's tough. Ricky gave us a super chat. This team stinks, but at least we have each other. Ricky did that. That was a super chat, but I think his other comment in the chat was maybe the quote of the day. I think he said, where is it? Trace Megapixel Fowler. So there you go. I don't even know if Trace is there.
I'm here. It's a tough stretch. It's a tough stretch of road here. Okay. I mean, Listen, there's when you're down on your luck, you're down on your luck.
Wow. I wish
Down.
I wish I could post that.
How many pixels do I got right now? I got like 6, 7, 8.
That might be a stretch. That might be a stretch.
Really, really. Well, the good news is that we have a lot of big brain people here at Chatterbox Sports. One of them's myself, but the best thing that I heard today was that Elliot Rearing decided as we were entering the 8th inning, he said, I was just going to do it. I was going to do it at the country club, make sure I had good internet, and then then essentially I'd leave from there. So, maybe my day wouldn't have been very great because by the time I get home, it would have been bad time. But you know what? I was going to do that for the show because I had already hosed you once. But no, Elliot convinced me that if I left now, I could get back to my house before the game ended. Little does he know, I still have about 20 minutes before I get back to my house, and the game ended 20 minutes ago. So, he was only off by about 45 minutes. It's not a good
Well, you can't win them all. Does Casey got any thoughts right now? Because I don't have a whole lot. I don't really know where to go.
Guys, let's just be honest here. Guys need to step up. I've said that time and time again, and that's just not happening at the moment. You got dogs. They're not very hungry right now. They need to get a little hungrier so we can get a little faster, hit some balls a little harder so we can get fed. Simple as that, man. I mean, it's nut cutting time. They're not cutting nuts.
That's dynamite drop in right there from Casey. I don't know if you were looking for the best analysis on the east of the Mississippi River, but I think you just got it. I don't know. To finish my point about Stuart Fairchild, I don't know, man. It's just, I can't say what I'll tell you what I'm going to say what I want to say, and people are going to be mad at me. I don't care if they're mad at me. It's just tough luck. Like, it's tough luck right now. If that ball gets hit on the ground to the shortstop, it's like, oh, great, we caught a break. We didn't hit into a double play. Instead, we hit like a lazy fly ball to center field, and then Fairchild has no clue where it's at, which that's on him. He should know where it's at. But Barry said you should look at the third base coach. I was always taught you take a quick glance at the plate, and if you see the ball's put in play, then obviously you can get back. But I always thought that was dumb anyway. So maybe they started teaching them to not look. And if the ball's put in play, look at the third base coach, which I actually like better. But that's here nor there. But that's not the game. Like, the game's, there's 9 innings of baseball, Nick. At some point, this offense has got to be better.
Yeah. I mean, it'd just be nice to have one game where you don't really have to worry about the pitching giving up a couple runs or the bullpen giving up 1 run or Hunter Green having a little bit of command issue and giving up 3 runs over 5 innings. It'd be nice just to have one game where the offense takes over. And I mean, there's been some good individual performances. Like I said, Candelario's looking much better at the plate. Ellie had a good day after having a little bit of a recent slump. But it's just not enough. Just not enough 1 through 9. And I mean that's also part of being down guys is you don't have that length in your lineup, and then you add that to guys like India's really struggling right now. Mike Ford. I don't know.
I think since April 11th, Nick, shout out to Solly, but I think Solly put out a graphic today from Fangraphs. Since April 11th, the Reds only have 3 hitters that are above league average, and one of them's borderline. I think Fraley's just below. So, outside of that, then when you look at it, it's just like legitimate drop off the face of the earth production. Espinal, India, they've been horrific. That's why, quite honestly, I asked you before we got on this show started. It's like, are we even good? Are we trying to convince ourselves this team's good when we're not? I don't know. That's last serious question I have for you is, when's the must win? Like, when's the must win come? Like, are we there yet or no?
I think we're getting to you need a decent stretch of baseball. I don't think there's ever anything that's like a must win, because you lose tomorrow, you win the next 4. It doesn't mean anything. Whereas you win tomorrow, but then you lose the next 4. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I get lost in this next game's a must win or anything like that. Just because I don't think you can ever put that on one individual game, but I mean, there's definitely needs to be a some sort of sense of urgency to stop the bleeding. I don't know if that's a fair answer or not, but that's where my head would be at.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but it just feels like this team just has zero. I don't want to say leadership. It just feels like there's no answers right now, unfortunately. So it is what it is. Is there any specific stuff you kind of want to get into before we, I guess, already go down the rabbit hole that is just feeling sorry for ourselves?
Not really. I mean, I don't, like Hunter Green was fine. His velocity was down. You hope he's not hurt. It was nice to see him battle through a game where he clearly did not have his best fastball. He actually threw a splitter 12 times, threw his curveball 3 times. And I know I mentioned it before. He hadn't been really throwing either pitch. It had just been straight fastball slider. So good to see him use those other pitches to kind of be able to gut through a day where he didn't have it. I think that was part of the reason why he walked 5 batters was because he was, trying to throw the pitches he not able to throw for strikes as much. And also probably trying to be a little finer with his fastball because it just didn't have it as much. But nonetheless, it's just good to see him kind of gut through an outing when he clearly didn't have his best stuff. That was good to see. Just unfortunate that Nick Martinez couldn't, strand the runners, but he's been really good out of the bullpen, so it's hard to, be too upset about him. I know there's 2 moves from David Bell I didn't love, but I also don't really, I don't feel like been out of shape over. I think probably would have been better to bring in a actual like a normal typical reliever with 2 runners on base for Hunter Green, try to get out of that inning, then go to Nick Martinez. But again, I don't know who's available, who's not. So I always try to be cautious with how critical I am of moves like that individually without knowing all those things. Although he did end up using Cruz, so it's kind of like why would you not use Cruz in that? But he probably wasn't going to use Cruz. He only used Cruz because they tied. I don't know. And then Benson hitting against a lefty in the 7th. I know his thought process was Benson's spot in the lineup's probably going to come back up again. They were trailing at that point. So he didn't want like Fairchild against a right-handed pitcher later, but kind of felt like in that spot, man, you kind of got to go for it. So those are the 2 moves I didn't love, but I also don't really, I'm not going to throw a temper tantrum over either.
Yeah, listen, I obviously haven't had the best day either here. So it's hard for me to be critical of too many people when you're having a day like today for me. But at the same time, I'm just going to say this. It is May, which means there's time to figure it out. But it's going to require something that nobody's going to be able to do or fix. And I'll leave it at that. I really know that everybody wants a solution for every problem. But sometimes the solution's already there. It's a matter of whether or not they pick it up and play better. And I don't think that this team should be going and trading anybody. I don't think this team is really in a position to call anybody up. I know, and I understand why people were going to hate me for saying that, that's a loser's mentality maybe, or you've been waiting your whole life. And I get all that. I understand it. And you can't sit here and keep saying, well, next year I'll be here next year. I understand that. But we can't trade the whole team, Nick. You can't trade the whole team. Somebody's going to have to be good. You're either a good baseball team or you're not. So if you're looking to trade people and replace people, I understand that Fairchild and Espinal are kind of on the list, but India's been just as bad. Will Benson's been just as bad. Luke Maley's been just as bad. At some point, these guys have to produce, and if they don't produce, then it is what it is. And I'm not trying to trade a bunch of prospects to go get Jazz Chisholm or whoever the hell else we want to try to go get. It's not going to fix the problem. So that's how I feel about it. Maybe I'm wrong, but kind of in a spot here where they either produce or I don't want to say punt, but let's not sit here and act like they're one roster move away from really being in the thick of it.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I mean, we've used the Marte suspension and the McLean injury as an excuse, and I mean, I think it's a pretty good excuse. But if those two guys are thrown right into the lineup right now, it's not going to magically make this entire lineup great. There's still going to be a lot of guys that are struggling, but this is tough. I mean, the next 10 games are it's the most difficult most difficult stretch of the season coming up, and you're going into it on an 8-game losing streak. So, I don't think any of them are a must win, but you go 2-8 or worse during the stretch, you really could bury yourself and not be able to get back out.
Well, they're close. I mean, thank God they got off to a decent start. If they didn't get off to a decent start, they would 100% be buried by now. But at the same time, yeah, we're in a tough spot. I just don't. I think the biggest question mark is not so much, do they need to win tomorrow, this, that, and the next. Like I get the whole idea that they're starting to bury themselves. The bigger question mark that I have personally is how good some of these guys are. How good is Will Benson? How good is Jonathan India? Is CES what we hope that he is? The only guys that I truly believe in right now, unfortunately, are like, I don't know. I mean, Ellie De La Cruz. I think Candelario at the end of the year will be okay. Oddly enough, of all the guys, I think TJ Friedl will probably be okay. And then Tyler Stevenson, thank the Lord, he looks like he's I don't want to say back. That's a strong word, but he is very impressive. Tyler Stevenson is significantly better this year than he was last year, defensively for sure. And offensively, he's bounced back, which I think we always assumed he was going to be pretty good offensively, or at least decent. So for lack of a better term, that's a bright spot. But outside of that, I don't know. I wouldn't try. I wouldn't be betting a significant amount of money that they're going to be big league players for a significant amount of time. So Spencer Steer, maybe we lump into that mix, but that's even a little bit of a question mark at times. So I don't know, Nick. It's kind of where we're at. We're all sad people.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad we have like a sort of a day off because Reds don't play till 10:15 tomorrow.
Right.
kind of want an off day, to be honest.
If you want a rain out, I can get you a rain out, Nick.
Does it rain in San Francisco at night?
Well, we can make some calls. I'm sure we can get some hoses out there.
Can we get that thing? Wasn't there a country that tried to like create rain and like created a monsoon or something? Can we get that?
I think that's Saudi over there.
Yeah,
They have so much money there. I think that's called cloud seeding, Nick, is what they call that.
Yeah, look at you.
Yeah.
We got a super chat. I don't think you guys played golf today. Justin asked if you lost to Elliot in golf.
No, we didn't play golf. We're running a golf tournament right now. We got our video board at there, so we have to run the leaderboard during the day, and then tomorrow we're doing a broadcast. So me and Casey went to try to make sure some things were ready to go, and let's just say they weren't 100% ready to go. So we made a move. Although, on times like this, I think what you really need is some comedic relief. So here, let's do this. This is going to be maybe an all-time moment on the show. I'm going to do my best here. Hold on. How many pixels am I at? How many pixels am I at right now?
2.5.
Really? 2.5? Well, my thought is let's go get some real dynamite insight from this guy. Let's see if. Now, where are you going? Hold on.
Trace is chasing a geese.
Hey, I was going to ask him what he thinks of Santiago Espinal. Turns out he doesn't want an interview. But yeah, Nick, I don't know. I don't really know what to. I'm sorry, I wasn't capable of getting back to my house in time today. So there's that. I know that made life a little tougher on you. We probably got how many? Let me ask you this: how many people are in the chat right now?
There's 183 people watching this stupid show. I don't even.
What are we doing? 180. 183 people.
I kind of feel sorry. I feel like I got to produce more than I am right now. Yep.
Damn. Well, there went all the producing. There went all of the analysis right there. Just flew away, just like the Reds season. It was gone before you know it. Well, the sun's out here. I'm glad I made it back. I'm providing no substance to you. I hope that 180 people enjoyed the worst Chatterbox Reds that Trace has ever performed in his life. So,
It can only go up from the Reds. It can only go up from Chatterbox Reds. So Trace, I'll let you go. I'll tell the
yeah,
people about tomorrow's starters.
you do that. I'm sorry, Nick. Take care. 180 people. Unbelievable. The most unbelievable thing I think we've ever done at Chatterbox.
All right, I'll see you about 12:30 in the morning tomorrow night. All right, that was Trace Fowler. All right, so here's what we got. Reds minor league action. No one's played yet. We have tonight. Dayton's supposed to play at 6:30 against Lake County, which is right down the road from me. I don't think it's going to happen. It's looking pretty rough around here. Indianapolis, Louisville, they host Indianapolis at 6:35. Brett Kennedy on the mound, so be sure to check that out. Daytona is at 6:35. Tennessee AA, they've already been rained out. All right, Reds next series. They'll be going up against the Giants. They got some tough matchups. Friday's 10:15, very, very late start. Andrew Abbott going up against Logan Webb. So that'll be a tough matchup for the Reds. Saturday, Nick Lodolo against Mason Black. So probably the Reds' best looking matchup. And then Sunday, Frankie Montas against Kyle Harrison. So we'll be back tomorrow night, very late. Hopefully we get to talk about a win because I'm kind of tired of talking about losses. I would assume you're probably tired of hearing us talk about losses. So, again, appreciate everyone for watching today. Be sure to check out the podcast. I'll run through all the minor league action on the podcast for tomorrow. I'll give you a little bit more details about this upcoming series against the Giants. So, all right. Well, I hope that you have a fantastic day, as good as it can get. We'll talk again soon.